Hey there, Nick Jatakis here. In this video, we're going to go over the pros and cons of using Docker Image Digest, which can help create more reproducible builds. So I've got this example Dockerized Flask app. I'll leave a link to this one in the description here. But the takeaway is it is using the official Python image from the Docker Hub, specifically version 3.12.7 Slim Bookworm. Now, when it comes to the official Python image, these tags are mutable, meaning they can change over time without you explicitly changing this tag. For example, if you were to build this project today and then build it 3 months from now, chances are you're going to get a slightly different image 3 months from now. Maybe you're going to have 3 months of security patches rolled in, but once in a while, there are breaking changes that may occur. For example, if we go to this one pull request here, and by the way, for context, when it comes to Python 3.12, at the language level, they officially removed the setup tools package from the standard library. However, the official Python Docker image pip installed this for you on your behalf for a couple months after the Python 3.12 release. But this pull request here, whenever it happened to be merged here, sometime in August, etc., it removed this setup tools package. And what's interesting there is, I've got this example Flask app as well as a Django app. Now, someone was using this Django app here, and they started getting this error: no module name distutils. Basically, setup tools was removed. Now, what's really interesting about that one is when I updated this project, let's say, maybe a week or so before this pull request was moved, then CI was working, this problem didn't exist, but then, over time, pull request got merged there, you start building the new image here from scratch, from the top, and now suddenly setup tools isn't available. So, the fix was really easy. I just needed to add setup tools to the project itself. But this is a great example of, how a Docker image built today can work, but then it breaks tomorrow after some change here. And when it comes to adding image digest, this can help create a mutable tag to make it immutable. Basically, it is not going to change over time. And if I just paste in this command here, or I should say an alternative version of this from call here, we can see, everything up until this point is exactly the same, but you can add the @ symbol, and then you can pick your digest type, and then put in the digest itself here. And, suddenly this will make this Docker tag immutable because it's pointing specifically to a digest that will not change over time. So, if this were to change, like let's say that Docker pushes a new version of 3.12.7 Slim Bookworm that has maybe some security patches rolled in, then this SHA is going to be different in the future. So, you're going to be locking into a specific SHA here, which definitely has some pros and cons, right? Like, for example, when it comes to the pros, you have more predictable and reproducible builds, right? If something breaks, you can pinpoint exactly when and where it did because, you're going to have the ability to keep this in your audit trail within Git commits. And I guess, that's another pro too as well, right? From a security perspective, it's nice to be able to say like, okay, exactly on, April 10th, like 2025, I updated the Git shot of this to the other newer version or whatever, and that addresses some security vulnerability that some tool reported on your behalf there. So having that audit trail is nice because, if you weren't using digest here, then like every time you just build your project arbitrarily, like whenever you make an update, this could be a little bit different, this could be a little bit different, and yeah, that's kind of interesting there. And there's other ideas around security around like supply chain attacks. For example, if the Docker Hub were to be compromised, which is very unlikely, but let's say maybe you're even using a different registry instead of the Docker Hub here, then if you have your stuff locked down to a specific Git SHA, but somebody compromised like this specific tag or something, but that latest version of the tag is the one that's compromised, then you're not going to be affected here because, you're going to be locked down to a previous Git SHA that is safe from the compromise there. Now, that doesn't mean you're in the clear 100%, but it is a little bit more safety on that regard there. But there are some cons of using image digest because, well, one, I guess if you're living on the edge here for some projects, kind of makes sense maybe where you wouldn't want to use a digest because, if a project is meant to be kept up to date there and something breaks, this allows you to react to it very quickly instead of just waiting, however many weeks or months or down the line when you're updating your project here to update the Git SHA. And then also I've noticed at least certain security tools tend to fail when you have a Git SHA defined here. I can't say if this is the case for today, but I remember in the past for sure with Sneak, if you added Git SHAs here, like it just wouldn't scan your base images anymore. Like it was just silently failing. Now again, maybe Sneak updated their stuff for that to work now in the future, but something to think about there. Now, what's interesting though is, trying to keep tabs of when these Git SHAs change could be a little bit tricky. You can actually use the official Docker CLI to get this information. So let's check it out here to see how we can get the latest SHA for Python 3.12.7. So you can just run docker manifest inspect, put in the name of the Docker image here with -v, and this is going to run. Let me zoom in so we get a little bit more space here. It's going to take a while because it is going to check things out on the Docker Hub and produce a whole lot of JSON output here. 99% of this is information we don't really care about, but let me just page up even a little quicker here. You can see there's a lot. What we care about though is inside this first descriptor here, we have a digest, and we can see the SHA like D2E, et cetera, et cetera. We go back to this file here, you can see D2E. And of course, by the time that you watch this video, it's very possible that this get SHA is going to be a different value. So, if you see a different value here, don't be alarmed. It's expected that this thing is going to change. Now, let's say that you want to parse this out in, maybe a little bit more of a programmatic way here, because again, you have so much JSON output there. Maybe you just want to get this a little bit quicker. So for sure, we can use the power of the shell here to pipe some stuff together here. So let me clear this screen here and we'll rerun this command. So what we could do now is we can just grep the word digest, and remember, because that one line had digest in there, and then we can just go and get like the first line. So if you run this, it's going to output that entire line, digest, and then some quotes, and then whatever the get SHA happens to be here. So if you're just quickly looking, you can go into your Dockerfile manually by hand, and you can be like, okay, cool, let me just go and like pop in that SHA there, and then you're good to go. Everything is up to date. So in this case, you don't need the SHA 256 duplicated twice. That's why that line changed. But let's say that you want to go maybe even one step further, and you want to write some automated tools maybe to update the get SHA on a regular basis, like maybe every week or something like that. You do that. That's completely fine. But that means you probably will need to parse this in a little bit more robust way. So if you happen to have JQ installed, I made videos about that one in the past. It's a nice way to just to parse JSON output. So let's go back to full screen here. You can just run JQ here, and you can just get the first descriptor digest out, and this is going to output just the digest itself, which then you can input into your Docker file programmatically using whatever scripting that you want to do there. So that's a pretty easy way to get the digest of any Docker image there on the Docker Hub. And again, this is not limited to the Docker Hub as well, but you can see here we're just doing it for the Python image. But yeah, let us know in the comments below if you are going to be digesting your images or not. I will say this, these example Dockerized projects I have for Flash, Django, Rails, Node, and Phoenix, I am not using digest in those because I kind of do want to keep those things kind of like rolling updates, right? Latest security patches, etc. If something breaks, then I can get notified pretty quickly here and update the project. However, I will say this, when it comes to rolling out applications to production, I absolutely do use digest there because, yeah, again, just from that security audibility, it's pretty nice. Just being locked into a specific build is pretty nice as well. And if it's an active project there, I'm continuously updating these digests on a regular basis there. And, kind of just like to have that, just to know that I'm in a little bit more control on when these things get updated. Because, yeah, I know I do have automated tests and things like that. But, yeah, still, it's good just to know from a perspective of, look, this is the version that I tested and shipped to production. This is the one that is running right now. So, yeah, with that said, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up because it really does help a lot. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.